Okay, so many of you have asked for a make.com tutorial as far as sending a Stammer webhook to make.com and then doing whatever within make.com with it. So that's what this tutorial is going to be about, is how do you do that? Now, the first thing you have to do is have an AI agent set up and ready to go. I have cloned the basic example we have in the marketplace. It's called lead gen example, no questions. And yeah, one key change I did make actually that I want to mention, nothing with the prompt, but I just switched to using GPT-4o because what we've noticed weirdly over the past few months is that GPT-4 Turbo has gotten a little unreliable as far as function calling. We're not sure why that's the case. It's kind of interesting, but luckily GPT-4o is half the price and also seems to perform much better. So I did make that change. Now let's go into here. And what we're going to do first is go into make.com and we're going to create a scenario. So I will click on create a new scenario. We're going to do webhook, custom webhook. And we're just going to say create a webhook. I'm just going to use the default name here. We don't really care what the name is right now. We're not going to do anything else. We're going to say OK. And this webhook should now be functioning. What I'm actually going to do here is turn this on. Oh, okay. First I will save it. Okay. Now we're going to turn this on. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and, are we going to do that? Yes. Well, no, we don't need to yet. First, we need to get this data format. We need to teach it our data format. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, it doesn't understand our data structure when you click on this redetermine data structure. But that is okay. There is a way around this, all right? So now that the webhook is actually running live, I'm going to go to this webhook section. I am going to copy the URL. You could have gotten the URL on the other screen, by the way, but I'm going to need to be here anyway in just a moment. Now I'm going to go back to the Stammer dashboard. Let's move this camera. And then we're going to go to leads, of course, and I've already had this here before. We're going to replace it with this. We are going to click save. And now what we're going to do is test this. Now in the future, what you can actually do to teach it this format is you can actually send the test data. We're going to change the name of this label very soon, later today actually, and make it history and test, webhook history and test. And what you should be able to do in the future is just test the webhook, and that is how you can get the data. But we did notice a little issue with this functionality, so we are getting it fixed, but that's okay. We can actually just talk to the bot in order to get it to send the webhook data. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to walk through an example here. So let's just move this again because can you tell me more about what you do? Okay, he wants my email. I'm going to give it to him. Okay, we're going to say 1 year ago. And we're going to say YouTube. Okay, now here is what should have happened. The webhook should have been sent to make.com, to that new webhook I just set up. Let's check and look in the Stammer system and see if we can see that webhook successfully being sent. So we're going to go to leads. We're going to click here. And there we go. Do you see that? That was sent to make.com. Let's check the time. Yep, that is just now. Okay, and we could copy actually the request payload from here and use that, but what we are actually going to do is just go to make.com. Here is our webhook that we were talking about. We're going to go to the logs. Here is our successfully sent request. We're going to go to the detail. And you'll see why I'm doing this in just a moment. I'm going to copy this JSON, okay? And now what we're going to do is use this JSON in order to tell the make.com webhook the data structures that it should expect. That way it can parse this JSON and set up those cool variables inside their user interface that you can select and use with anything in their system. So, and one of the reasons why we have to do this, right, is everyone's lead data is going to be different. Some of you, I mean, most of you are probably not collecting information about how did you hear about Stammer AI, right? So you may have anything in here, and that's why you need to teach it how to understand this format. And it's just unfortunate that make.com can't parse it with its default functionality. Now we're going to go back to scenarios. Now we are going to click on integration webhooks. Okay, so we have this. Now let's try it one more time because I'm just curious if it can determine the data structure because we've sent it one successful request. Although the last time I did this, it actually messed it up. But yeah, let's see. So yeah, usually, well, at least in my experience, I just started using make.com this morning, but usually it does it much quicker. So, okay, let's stop this. And what we're going to do instead is edit this webhook, okay? We're going to click on Show Advanced Settings. And now we're going to create a data structure. You're going to see some older ones in here. I'm going to click Add to create a new one. And we'll call it My Data Structure 3 because this is the third time I'm doing this. Now we're going to generate this. We don't want to type this out or we don't want to create this manually. So I'm going to generate. And here is where I'm going to paste in that JSON data that I just copied earlier. There we go. We're going to say generate. And now you just want to look at this and make sure this looks good. All this should be the same for you, except when you get to the lead data, you're going to want to see in here what you are collecting. So then I'm going to click save. This all looks very good to me. Okay, now we're going to click save. Now we're going to click OK. And now what we're going to do is, for this example, we're going to now post to Slack to the Stammer Slack instance whenever we get a webhook to this endpoint, right? So let's add another module. I've already connected Slack in the past. And we're going to say create a message. Okay. We're going to do select from the list. And we're going to look for a public channel within the Stammer Slack. What is the name of, it was make test. So we will select that. And here's where we enter our text. And as you can see, because we've defined the data structure, now all this stuff is showing up very neatly. So let's say we're going to select, here's what we'll do. We'll put in this here. We'll say a webhook was sent with the following data. Okay. And now we're going to say email. On the next line, we can say, when did you start your agency? And then on the next line, how did you hear about Stammer? Okay. And now we're going to click OK. And I think we actually should be good now. Let's just move this here. Let's save this. Okay, the scenario was saved. It's running, it's live, so it should be good now. Let's go to the make test channel here. Great. So we've got the prior instances, including the one I did on the office hours today, as you can see. But let's see if it's still working, if this works now with the new one I've set up. So the first thing we're going to do, this is a little bit boring, but we're going to go back through the flow of that conversation. Okay, what do you do? Okay, we're going to put in okay. Now what we should see very soon, and actually I could hear the Slack notification, so I know it did work, but here it is. A webhook was sent with the following data. Keep in mind, Integromat, that was apparently the old name for make.com. They certainly chose a better name, that's for sure. And then here's the information here. So this is just how you do this, right? This is how you set this up and start to connect a Stammer webhook to a make.com incoming webhook. And now you're free to, use any one of their other integrations to kind of push this data into whatever system you need to push it into. So yeah, as usual, let us know if you have any questions about this and have a fantastic day.